So this whole section coming up here is actually part of what we lost because of the actual level design we ended up going with. This shot pains me to lose. This was kind of a neat reveal on a farmer. All the silhouettes of the Japanese squadron kind of tearing across his land. Coming down into the harbor on, the lone sailor. Apparently he was the only guy awake that morning. Oh, this shot really hurt to lose. So the mountain swishing by in the extreme close-up. Come up to a reveal on the harbor and the squadron all kind of banks off and it turns in. And here's our poor guy. Oh no, what? So as I mentioned, because of how we actually decided to design the level and have it open, this whole part wouldn't have made sense, but it was a lot of fun to develop visually. Can't do it without bomb cam. Boom. Now I think we're gonna take a look at the actual in-game cinematic that we went with. Yep. So this is the Iwo Jima Memorial, and we open on this. We kind of introduce the Marine Corps here because the game focuses solely on the Marines. We thought it right to kind of pay a little bit of tribute and give a little history behind the United States Marine Corps. These guys specifically are a part of the Silent Drill Platoon, which is, there's also a video on this on the Director's Edition version of the game you can check out. And they do this whole big routine without any voice commands of any kind, which is really neat. And our friends over at Brainzoo Studios actually took and rotoscoped every single move and motion in the entire routine, not just what we see here. And the reason that's kind of really important is you can't storyboard something like this. You really gotta build it out in 3D, push a camera around it to find what kind of motions really work well together, what kind of shots transition one into another very well, and get an overall rhythm for the piece. So we kind of do that here. We push in on the Iwo Jima Memorial, and that is kind of our transition back in time to the Japanese fleet that's steaming its way towards Pearl. So you can see a lot of the same shots that we had in the original storyboarded version. A lot of the same transitions made their way over to here that we thought were the kind of the key moments to get across. This transition here is kind of neat, that headband going into the signal flag, coming down into the guy on the deck. It's going to launch everything off with a big audio cue here, a pregnant pause. Ooh, that builds tension, that's cool. Coordinating and rendering a shot like this is just a tremendous amount of work. But again, the guys over at Brainzoo Studios just did an awesome job with this piece. So in-game cinematics, or cinematics that are controlled and played back within the actual game engine, are by far the most challenging of all the types of movies we do. No matter how robust your game tech is, it just can't perform some of the lighting effects or editing advantages you get with an offline package. For example, doing simple cross dissolves between two shots with motion is trivial in real editing software, but inside a real-time engine, it's very difficult because during that dissolve, you're actually rendering both of the scenes, and performance would go to hell. So not an insurmountable problem by any means, it just comes down to how much programming effort you put into that aspect of the engine, and we chose to put the majority of our engineering bandwidth into gameplay features. So putting aside nifty offline features is kind of liberating in some ways because it makes you focus more on use of camera placement and scene management, which means you pay more attention to the different emotions you can stir up by something as simple as camera height or which way your action moves. So you can see in a shot like this, we start with our hero exiting kind of to the left, running off. And the camera kind of does this awkward pan to the right, and we see the enemy coming in going, where'd those guys go? So it's very disjointed and disconnected. You don't feel attached to those guys at all. So doing something as simple as moving the camera over in the path of the characters, all of a sudden you're a little bit more connected, a little more invested in what's going on. It's more interesting. And you can kind of see how that iterates and grows over time, how we get multiple characters coming towards you, getting close to the camera. It becomes more intense, as well as just raising the camera up and craning up a little bit creates this kind of this sense of triumph, as well as some intensity. And you can see how the scene kind of develops and fills up as we progress through each version of this. And you have these things like the characters with the bendy legs, and all these things don't matter when you're just trying to get across pace and camera and understand how you connect to this scene. So obviously these things are a lot of fun to make. They're probably on par with making the game itself. And they put these things together, and you breathe life into these characters, and you get some emotion and some real personality starts to come across, and all these guys become just a little more real and a lot more fun. So there you have it. There's kind of the turbo look at making movies in Medal of Honor games. It's a huge effort by a ton of people, and it's just a heck of a lot of fun, man. Case in point is this guy here. Occasionally, even get a loopy animator who goes a little rogue on you, and you end up with this. Look at this guy go. Da 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 da.